Hey Slayers, we are back with another video.
I'm a dog, roof, car go fast, zoom.
So today we're doing a color time slice tutorial, and I'm going to be showing you two different versions, so you can go to the description and there will be timestamps down there. The first one is going to be 3 different colors, and the second one is just going to be 1 color. So with that being said, let's get it poppin'. The first thing you're going to do is go into multi-layer. You're basically just going to be doing a slide transition. So I'm using the color scheme pink. Whatever color scheme you're using, use the darkest color in the back. So click on the background color and select whichever color you would like to use. Once again, choose the darkest shade of the color scheme because we kind of want it to have a gradient effect. Now for the first layer, click color and choose a color that's a little lighter than the background. You can do this by clicking the color you chose for your background and then turning down the saturation a little bit. So now you're going to take the first layer and just slide it over a little bit. And now for the second layer, you're once again going to choose color and make this the lightest shade in the color scheme. And we are once again going to slide it over so you can clearly see all 3 colors. So now in the third layer, we're going to select our clip. And you're once again going to slide this over so you can see all 3 colors. And make sure there's an even spacing between all the colors in the clip. So now we're going to add a master layer and click all 3 layers. The master layer is going to control all 3 layers at once. So now at the start of your clip, you're going to move everything over until you can only see the photo. Then slide your little white marker all the way down the timeline, and then move the whole clip back over again. So you're basically doing a slide transition. And now click on the path graphs, click custom, and then basically just make it look like mine. And like I said earlier, this is basically just a slide transition with 3 different clips, but all the clips are together, so it's not even that hard. So now the transition is all done. Go back to the start of the clip and then turn up the size by 1. And adjust your clip if you need to, just make sure that there's no edges showing. You basically don't want this, you don't want any edges showing. So when you're done making the adjustments, watch the clip back a couple times and make sure it looks good, and then press create and then done. Now we're going to go to the second clip and go into multi-layer. And you're basically going to do the same thing with the colors you did on the first clip. Your background should already be set, so go ahead and import the 2 other colors to the first layer and the second layer. And as you import the colors, slide them over and make sure that they look even and that there's no edges showing. Now import your clip and do the same thing. Now add the master layer and choose all 3 layers. And since we're at the start of the clip, we're just going to slide it over. Now slide your little white marker towards the end of the clip. Now slide the clip over till you can only see the photo. Now turn up the size by 1. And at the end of the timeline, go into the path graphs. Click custom and then basically make it look like mine. Also, little tip if you didn't know, use the Bezier curves because they are a lot easier to work with. And yes, I pronounce it Bezier. I don't care how you pronounce it, so whatever. And when you're done with that, watch it back a couple times, make sure it looks good, press create, and then done. So now you're going to click edit and then merge scenes. Then click set start on the first scene and set end on the second scene. Now you're going to go into new and transform. And before we put it in Time Slicer, we're going to slide over and put some VS motion blur on it. Don't do too much, I would say maybe around 20 or 30 for the blur, but the blend is going to be up to 100. And by the way, tracking blur does not work with the master keyframes, so that is why we are using VSMB. So now we're going to go back into New and Transform, and slide back over to Time Slicer. Click Edit and make any adjustments you need to. So it might depend on the length of your clips, but usually you're going to want center. You can choose how many strips you want, but make sure your slicer is on horizontal. And then just review it to make sure it looks good, and when you're confident, press Create. And there you go, now you're done. And now we're going to do the second time slice, which is only one color. Before we start, I'll just say that you're basically doing a slide transition again, and then you just turn down the opacity to reveal a color. It's really easy. So the first thing we're going to do is go into multi-layer. And this time I'm going to change the background color to blue. So now click 1 and import your clip. Now click Edit Keyframes, and now just basically do a slide transition. So take your little marker to the end of the timeline, and slide your clip over to the left. And now click on the path graphs. Choose Custom, and then once again either copy mine or you can import a QR code. So now we're going to go back and click Mirror. Choose the one all the way on the right. Now go into Color and choose Tracking Blur. Turn it down just a little bit because you don't want it to be too extreme. Now we're going to go back into the keyframes and take your marker over just a little before halfway. And now click on the arrow for opacity. This is basically going to mark that opacity is set at 100%. Now go to the end of the timeline and turn down the opacity to about 15 or 20. Press Create and then Done. Now on to the second clip, we're going to go back into multi-layer. Choose one and then import your clip. Then go into the keyframes. Go all the way to the end of the timeline and click on the arrow for path. Now go back to the start of the timeline and move your clip over. Ignore this part, you guys. I am a doofus and I moved it the wrong way. You're supposed to slide it to the right, not to the left.
Hey flops.
So anyways, move it over to the right. And at the end of the timeline, we're going to go into the path graphs. And once again, just copy me or import a QR code. And now we're going to go back and choose Tracking Blur and Mirror. Now we're going to go back into the keyframes. And at the start of the timeline, we're going to turn down the opacity to about 15 or 20. And then sliding the marker a little less than halfway, we're then going to turn up the opacity to 100. And if it looks good, press Create and then Done. And now we're going to merge again, so go into Edit and then Merge Scenes. Click Set Start on the first scene and then Set End on the second scene. Now we're going to go into New and Transform. And go into Time Slicer and press Edit. Make sure yours is set as horizontal. And play around with the settings a little bit. I had to change mine to delay, because if I set mine on center, then it would start to do a time slice again towards the end of the clip, and obviously we don't want that, so I chose delay for mine. And for those who don't know, center is going to start the time slice in the center of your video, delay is going to delay the time slice for a couple of seconds, and advance is going to start the time slice as soon as the clip starts. I then went back and chose center and then frozen ends for mine, so that way the time slice wouldn't start again towards the end of the clip. And then I forgot to screen record this part, but I did end up putting VSMB on my time slice as well. And that's gonna do it for today's video, my loves. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give this video a like and consider subscribing because I post all kinds of Videostar tutorials and help all over my channel, and I post every Monday and Friday now. So if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you hated this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I love you, thank you, and bye!